Alright guys, welcome to Flavo Rihanna's MMA show. I'm your host Flavo Rihanna, brought to you by Four Corner Sports. Guys, UFC 295 is officially in the books. Wow, what an event. What a event. Alright, now, was this the greatest Madison Square Garden card of all time under the UFC's promotion? No, because no one's gonna be able to out-trump UFC 205, which was headlined by Conor. You had Joanna and Carolina on that card. You had Tyron Woodley versus Stephen Wonderboy Thompson on that card, right? So no one's gonna be able to out-trump that card. But wow, this card was actually really good, especially the fact that we were supposed to have John Jones versus Stipe, and hardcore fans, we all knew that it was gonna be a murder onslaught from John Jones, right? And my dog is just begging to come up here. And we saw that Jones ended up I think he tore his labrum, and it's just one of those things where he's gonna be out, realistically maybe around up until International Fight Week, dare I say, if anything like that. But wow, man, the UFC is always one or two injuries away from actually putting out a really good fight card or pay-per-view in that matter. And we were able to get, like I said in the previous video, we were able to get for the interim heavyweight title, Sergey Pavlovich versus Tom Aspinall. But I'm going to talk about the main event first. I'll go into the co-main event. We'll talk about some Diego Lopez. We'll talk about some Lupi Godinez. We'll talk about Matt Frivola versus Benoit Saint-Denis. We'll talk about Mackenzie Dern, and we're going to try to wrap this up, maybe talking about a fight that I liked in the prelims. All right, so we'll start off with the main event. Main event, Yuri Prochazka versus Alex Pereira. Now, Yuri Prochazka, he too had a really bad shoulder injury, right? And he was out, relinquished his title. He was supposed to fight in December of last year, relinquished his title that allowed Jan Blachowicz versus Magomed Ankalaev to fight, right? For the vacant light heavyweight title. Jan was winning the majority of that matchup, and then after that, the tides had turned, and it resulted into Magomed winning like the back half of the fight. One judge had it for Jan, another judge had it for Magomed, and then one judge had it as a draw. I'm like, wow. And then we're in the same predicament. Fast forward a month later, actually, Dana White was frustrated with that decision, and he was like, you know what, we're gonna put it up again for grabs, because he didn't have a real main event to put for Brazil in January 2023. So he had Glover Teixeira versus Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill was scheduled at that point to fight Anthony Smith in March of this year, and he got fast tracked. He had the performance of a lifetime, defeated Glover Teixeira. And Glover Teixeira, retired. He was like, I don't have anything left to put in this game. I'm going to hang him up. Jamal Hill, training, right, at the PI, I think it ended up happening. And then after training, he decided to go play a basketball game. He ruptures his Achilles. He's out. He relinquishes the title. And then a couple weeks later, the UFC comes out and says that the winner of Jan Blachowicz versus Alex Pereira gets the title shot. Alex Pereira moves us to 205, defeats Jan Blachowicz. Now we get Yuri Prochazka versus Alex Pereira. Now, Alex Pereira, coming into this fight, we've seen how he fought against Jan. He fought to a 3-round decision. Yuri, very herky-jerky, very, unorthodox. He's not very traditional on his fighting style. And immediately I'm thinking, all right, I broke it down. I said, Alex, he gives no tell when he's going to throw those leg kicks, right? He throws those leg kicks, and it's going to hurt you, right? And that's going to limit the movement for one Yuri Prochazka, right? And that's what ended up happening in this fight. First round, Yuri felt those leg kicks, right? After the second one, he was starting to spin around, trying to, settle that it wasn't hurting, but it limited his movement a lot. All right. And to the point where Yuri was, it it compromised his fighting style, because he likes to, move around and stuff like that. And Alex is very good. He takes out the legs, then he's going to go for the body, if not the head. But he always takes out the legs first. Why? Because he knows that if he does that, he's going to limit you, and he's going to make sure that you are a lesser version of yourself before he goes for the kill. And that's what he did with Adesanya. That's what he did with all his other all his other fights that he has had in the UFC outside of Sean Strickland, because Sean just ended up walking forward and he just ended up just taking a nice right hook to the face and just got dropped. But that was neither here nor there. So Yuri just got, leg kicked to death. I mean, he didn't manage a takedown because he wasn't going to be able to last another couple more leg kicks in that first round. He saved himself a couple more minutes by going for the takedown, but he didn't do anything with it because Alex Pereira, training by Glover Teixeira, right, was able to be coached and keep himself where minimum damage was received, and he survived round one. Round two goes on, same thing. Yuri's trying to time the leg kicks. He can't time it because there's no tell whatsoever. Alex will never be able to. He will never show you when he's gonna throw it or not. He doesn't do any hip index, movements or anything like that. Nothing. He throws it very, very calculated, and it's very, very mysterious when he's gonna throw it. That's why it's very hard to try to defend him, and that's what happened in the main event. Yuri was not able to time it. Kept on getting kicked. He got dropped at one point in the fight because of the leg kicks, and then Yuri, trying to muscle through it. He tried throwing a combination. It didn't go well for him. Alex ends up dropping him with that short left hook, and Yuri tried going for a double leg takedown, but he was hurt at that point. He got flashed, knocked out, KO'd, and then Alex just kept him just throwing elbows right behind the ear to the point where it dropped Yuri Prochazka. Mark Goddard stopped the fight, and then immediately Yuri got up as if why'd you stop the fight? I had no problem with the stoppage, and the reason why I had no problem with the stoppage is because he fell down. At that point, when he fell down, Alex was on full mount. Alex could have just easily thrown a couple more elbows, and it still would have not changed the outcome. I understand that Yuri, has that samurai, background, and where he will not give up and stuff like that until you take him out. But he also lessened the vitriol that was about to come to Mark Goddard by saying that, hey, I have no issues with the stoppage. If he stopped it because I was knocked out, it's because I was knocked out. And Mark Goddard, I guess he got saved on that one, but I had no problem with the stoppage. Alex Pereira makes history. He becomes the 9th double champ ever. He captured the middleweight title in MSG, and he captured the light heavyweight title at MSG. He's also the first ever UFC fighter to go 3-0 at Madison Square Garden. I would say, 20% of his fights are actually at MSG. Michaelitis, Israel Adesanya, and Yuri Prochazka. The man has 11 fights. He has 2 world titles in 11 fights. I believe that was his 7th UFC fight under the promotions umbrella. It is insane what this man has been able to do in such a short period of time. He might just be a first ballot Hall of Famer in such a short period of time. I understand he's in the back ladder of his 30s, but wow, what a grand opening that this guy has got himself into. From 2021 up until now, in just a 2-year span, this man has already captured 2 world titles, fast tracked, multiple fight bonuses, making a good amount of money. It's wow, this guy is just incredible, and he's becoming a huge star. More and more people are starting to know about Alex Pereira, and it helps when you're a double champ. And he's been in the UFC for just about 2 years. It is crazy what's coming next for Alex Pereira. I mean, he wants to stay active, which is smart, because I don't think Jamal Hill will be ready to fight in a couple months the way that Alex wants to fight. Called out Adesanya. I love that. Adesanya does not want to smoke, does not want to fight Alex. I wouldn't be surprised if the UFC asks, Johnny Walker, hey, do you want to fight? I believe they would probably scrap the idea because John Anik on the booth was saying that the UFC is working on a fight night main event, Magomed Ankalaev versus Johnny Walker. So yeah, it'd be crazy. And then as for Yuri, I think he needs to take some time off. Maybe like a couple months, like two to 3 months, and then he ends up fighting the winner of Jan Blachowicz versus with Alexander Rakic. As for the co-main event, like I said, John and Stipe were supposed to fight. Now it's Tom and Sergey. Both these guys have a short amount of time inside the octagon because they just finished everybody within the first round, outside of Tom's submission over Arlovsky in round 2. But that's neither here nor there. Going into the fight, I was picking Sergey Pavlovich mainly because of the fact that he had the longer reach. He's the harder puncher, and we saw that in that fight. The fight lasted about a minute. Sergey hit Tom with a great combination, and Tom took it. And then afterwards, Tom was, shoulder rolling. He was bopping his head this way, that way, and he was avoiding the punches. And it was crazy because you know what? Tom really got faster from his fight with Marcin Tybura to now. He moves like a welterweight. I mean, people are not exaggerating by that type of stuff. He moves like a real welterweight, and he is 265 pounds walking in to that fight. And then afterwards, he got close to Pavlovich, and he threw a combination, stumbled Pavlovich, and then he knocked him out. It was phenomenal. It was a perfect way to, grab the interim belt. Tom Aspinall is the new interim heavyweight champion. In my eyes, he is the heavyweight champion because we all have a great idea that John and Stipe are going to retire after they fight each other. They are rumored to be the main event for International Fight Week, and after that, I feel like both are going to walk away. Stipe is not going to fight multiple times within the year, and John only wants legacy fights, and I don't think he wants to take that risk against Tom Aspinall. So Tom has also said it too, to TNT Sports, that he does plan on trying to defend the belt. He doesn't want to wait around, doesn't want to wait 18 months until, these two legends, scrap it up with one another. He's like, it's not fair for him. He has stuff to pay. He has, a family to feed. He's not going to be waiting around. And I totally agree with him. If Leon Edwards defeats Colby Covington next month, right? Put Tom Aspinall and Colby Covington on the same card in London. Put it at a stadium. I wouldn't say Wembley, but I would just say something along that nature. Stamford Bridge or whatever, just or somewhere in Manchester, and just have them sell out. That would sell out. England loves their own, and especially that they have 2 England champions. That's gonna be a good proposal to some of the UK fans, and so they could be intrigued in fighting. So yeah, guys, I mean, that is the main and co-main event. Mackenzie Dern versus Jessica Andrade. It was a good scrap, but Mackenzie Dern, she's no longer with Jason Perillo because the gym Ruka ended up getting sold, so she ended up parting ways and having a different head coach. She's still with her father, but man, the downgrade that she ended up getting on the striking department was terrible because she's not scared to fight. But Jessica Andrade used to fight at bantamweight. I don't know how she fought at bantamweight and got victories, but Jessica Andrade was just putting a clinic on her. She knocked her down I think it was 4 times inside the fight. The fight ended by knockout in the second round. And me personally, Mackenzie Dern possibly shut doors of her ever getting a title. Jessica Andrade snapped a bad 3-fight losing streak, and now she's back at possibly getting back into top 5, top 3 contention at women's strawweight. Mackenzie Dern is back in the drawing board and fighting the back 9 of the top 15 at women's strawweight. And then we also saw Benoit Saint-Denis versus Matt Frevola. Matt Frevola, New York kid. Unfortunately, he got knocked out cold by Benoit Saint-Denis by a crazy left high kick as Frevola was trying to backpedal. He caught him right on the eyebrow, cut him open, and Frevola was out. And then Diego Lopez ended up fighting Pat Sabatini. Diego Lopez, I picked Diego Lopez because Pat Sabatini is a wrestler. Lopez is a great jiu-jitsu fighter, and Sabatini can't use his wrestling the way that he would want to because he'd be facing a huge disadvantage in the ground game. I understand Pat is a BJJ black belt, but there's different levels to this, and Diego Lopez may be the creme de la creme of a BJJ black belts at featherweight, but Diego Lopez just knocks him out cold and just hammer fists and throws punches in bunches at Pat Sabatini's head, finishing in round 1 by knockout. Fantastic way. His stardom is through the roof. What's it called? They got a book come for Mexican Independence Day for next year. By the way, Dana White did confirm that it's going to be at the Sphere. And then lastly, a fight that I actually really liked was Joshua Van versus the Joshua Van fight. Oh man, I forgot the guy's name. But Joshua Van, put on a clinic. Van was phenomenal. That was the second fight of the card. And he's a good flyweight to be on the lookout for. And then Jamal Embers knocked out Dennis Bajuka. I think Dennis Bajuka is not made for the UFC. Jamal Embers got his first knockout in the UFC, and he's been in the UFC for quite some time. But yeah, guys, that is all. Thank you for tuning in for the reaction of UFC 295, and I will see you guys next time. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Is Alex Pereira a first ballot Hall of Famer? Should Tom Aspinall defend the interim title? And where do you think Diego Lopez goes after the knockout that he ended up implying on Pat Sabatini? Until then, guys, I am Flavo Oriana, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.